Welcome aboard, folks. Today on TTI, we've got a story that's part DIY, part family bonding, and all about boats. We're talking about the Bennington family, a fun-loving crew that decided to take a $2,000 wreck of a yacht and turn it into a floating dream home. Let me tell you, they've got more courage than a bunch of pirates in a Disney movie. So, let's start with the basics. The Benningtons are all about sailing. They started on a 24-foot Snapdragon bilge keel, which is basically a baby yacht. Then they upgraded to a 28-foot Great Dane long keel yacht because when it comes to boats, bigger is always better, right? But then they got really ambitious and went for a 38-foot steel pilot house cutter. This is that Melody, their latest project. And when they bought it in September 2020 for a whopping 2,000 euros, it looked like it had been through a hurricane and back. The Melody was so beat up, you could practically hear it groaning from all the rust. But the Benningtons weren't daunted. They just rolled up their sleeves and got to work. Restoring an old yacht is kind of like rescuing a stray dog. It's messy, it smells a little weird, and there's a lot of unexpected surprises. But it's also good for the environment. Instead of chopping down trees to build a new boat, they're giving this one a second life. Plus, it's a great way to test your skills in woodworking, metalworking, and a bunch of other things you'd never think you'd need to know unless you're on an episode of Survivor. But the Benningtons saw potential. They optimized storage, added seating, and basically made it into a floating studio apartment. Think IKEA, but with more waves and less meatballs. Once the inside was livable, they tackled the exterior. The gel coat was so faded, it looked like it had spent a decade under the sun with no sunscreen. The first step was to fix the hull and bow. You know, the stuff that keeps you from sinking. Then they started on the interior. It's a good thing they weren't claustrophobic because the inside of the Melody looked like someone had crammed all their old furniture into a shoebox. They sanded it down, reapplied the gel coat, and fixed any osmosis issues. Osmosis, by the way, is when water gets into the fiberglass and makes it all mushy. Not good for a boat. They also resealed the windows and hatches to keep the rain out. No one wants a soggy boat, especially when you're living on it. They checked the keel and ballast. The keel keeps the boat from flipping over, so you can see why this is important. If the keel bolts aren't tight enough, your boat is going to be about as stable as a toddler on roller skates. They made sure everything was secure and even did some keel fairing to reduce drag. That's boat speak for making the bottom smooth so it goes faster. After 16 months of hard work, sweat, and probably a few choice words, the Melody was ready to sail. Living on a boat is a unique lifestyle, but it requires a lot of planning. You've got to figure out where your water's coming from, how you'll handle waste, and what to do when you run out of snacks in the middle of the ocean. Some live aboard set up rainwater catchment systems, which is just a fancy way of saying they collect rainwater and use it for things like washing the deck. So if you ever thought about ditching the city and living on a boat, take a page from the Bennington family's book. It's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun. And if you want to see how they did it, just head over to their YouTube channel, Sailing Melody. Who knows, you might just be inspired to buy your own $2,000 yacht and set sail. Just don't forget to bring a lot of glue and a sense of humor. You'll need both.